Today we're going to learn how to play Everybody Hurts from REM. Stick around. Hello everyone, it's James from Practice Like a Pro, providing you with simple, clear guitar tips to help you on your guitar playing journey. So today we're going to learn how to play Everybody Hurts from REM. It's a great introduction to fingerstyle. Plus, don't click off the video, it's got a couple of bar chords in it, but the change is actually quite easy as far as bar chords go, so it's great for players of all levels. We're going to learn how to play this video purely fingerstyle, including the strumming section in the bridge. I'll show you how to do that later in the video. Also, this piece is in 6/8 time signature. So what that means is for each bar, you've got 6 quavers instead of 4 crotchets. So you count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll get into that with the picking. So we're going to start with the intro. We're just going to fret a D chord for this. Now what we're going to do, we need to use very, very specific fingers for this. I opt for a classical kind of technique for this. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick each note of the D chord, so the D string, the G, the B, and then the high E. And I'm using thumb, index, middle, and ring on my picking hand. And all we're going to do after those 4 notes is we're going to pick the G and then the B with the middle finger, then the index finger on the way back. And this is where you'll really start to feel that 6/8 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to play a D chord for 2 bars. Then we're going to go to G. Now I know the tab only has the 3s on it, but I fret a full G chord just out of habit. I don't care which way that you do it. Now instead of picking the D, the G, the B, and then the high E, we're going to take his thumb and we're going to move it up to the low E string, where we should be pressing the 3rd fret, and that's going to be his bass note. The other 5 notes of the sequence are going to stay in the same place. So it's 2 bars of D, 2 bars of G. Let's glue that together. Before we jump into the next section, let's just have a little chat about hand placement. So I tend to sort of rest where my thumb is, the bottom of my thumb, that chubby bit, either on the low E string or in this bevel in the acoustic guitar where it kind of chamfers off a little bit. So I could play it here, or I could be up here and do like, they call it the claw technique, it's a classical guitar term. Either's fine, just try not to anchor your pinky on the top of the guitar because it restricts your range of motion. Okay, so that D to G is your intro and your verse as well. So we're going to go through the intro, go through the verse. Then before we get to what I call the chorus, now I split this up into 3 sections. It's either the verse, the chorus, or the bridge, which we're going to talk about later in the video. There's a little thing that happens on the G chord as we transition into don't let yourself, goes to that part. What we're going to do, the very, very last G of the verse, instead of just playing, we're going to do like a descending picking pattern. So all we need is the 3rd fret on the low E string. We're going to pick that, followed by the open G, and then the open B. So I'm using thumb, index, middle. Notice how I'm pressing the 3rd fret with my 2nd finger. That's because we're going to go to the 2nd fret for the next bit of the phrase, and I want to use my index finger. Now stick with me, there should be a little bit of tension in this. That's the whole idea, that it's trying to get you to go to that E minor chord. So you've got 3, 0, 0, 2, and then you're going to pick those 2 notes again with the index and the middle finger. So the very last time around the verse, you're going to do 2 bars of D, 1 bar of G, then this walk down. When you play it up to speed, it makes a lot more sense. So then we're going to go into what I consider the chorus. You could call it a pre-chorus into the chorus, but I've just labelled it all together. So we're going to do an E minor chord, and we're going to use the same picking pattern that we used for the G chord. And you're going to do that twice. Now notice how I'm fretting an E minor chord, but the tab is all zeros. That's because we're actually missing those second frets on the A and the D. I don't mind whether you could play it like this, or you could play it like this. Sounds no different. So when we get to this A chord, you're going to play it just as you normally would with the bass note. Just like the E minor chord, but you move the thumb down to the open A string. On the second time round, you're going to pick the first 4 notes like you normally would. Then you've got this 3, 2, 0 on the low E string. Now, the 0 is the first part of the next bar. We'll get to that in a second. So you've got a full bar of A as normal. On the second repetition, you're going to play the first 4 notes as normal. Now I'm doing both of that with my thumb. It is a little bit of a rush, but if you practice it, you'll get that. Let me put all 4 bars together. So you're going to repeat that chord progression twice, and on the third repetition, it ends on that last bar of A just a little bit differently. So the E minor is exactly the same. The third bar, which is an A chord, is exactly the same. Then when we get to the fourth bar, which is the very, very last bar of the chorus, we're just going to play the open A string. But we don't want to let it ring out. We want to, as soon as we've played it, can you see what I'm doing with my hand there? I'm stopping it from ringing. Let me play the 4-bar phrase. And the lyric is sometimes. It's the very, very last bit before we go back to the verse. So we've already learned the verse. You're going to play the verse again. Then we're back into the chorus just as the same as we have. So the structure so far is intro, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. So now we get into the bridge. Now the bridge it does have 2 bar chords in it, but in the grand scheme of things, the change could be a lot worse for you. So I think it's a really good place. If you're fairly new to bar chords or not 100% with them, I think it's a great thing to add into your finger picking as well. So before we jump into the chords, I just want to talk about the strumming technique. Now the chords are F sharp and B minor. So the F sharp I'm playing with an E shaped bar chord, and the B minor I'm playing with an A minor shaped bar chord. Now, you could strum this with your thumb. All I want you to do for this, now there's an electric guitar that comes in on the record and plays these really big loud chords. We just kind of want to happily strum along to it, okay? You can either do it with your thumb, and we're just going to strum 4 strums. I know we're in 6/8, but you can strum 4 over 6. It does work. If you try it with the record and try and follow the pulse of it, you'll find it. Now, you can either strum that with your thumb, just the side of your thumb. In my opinion, that's very, very dark sound. And what I like to do is use the nail of my index finger and go for a bit more of a flamenco kind of vibe. Can you hear how that sounds a lot brighter? And we're going to do 4 strums on F sharp, 4 strums on B minor. Back to F sharp, B minor again. For the third repetition, we're going to do it again. Now next, you'll notice that there's a little bit of it's almost like key change stroke chromatic movement in the song. It goes to a C major chord after that third round of F sharp to B minor. So you're going to do 4 Cs, 4 Gs, and to round this off, we're going to do 4 more Cs. And then you've got A minor. You know how I said earlier that there was an A major and an A minor? There's this A minor here to bring it back round to the next section. And what we're going to do is, instead of strumming this 4 times, we're going to strum this 3 times. And just as we did at the end of the chorus, we're going to do like a very staccato, abrupt stop off after that third strum. So that very last bar, you've got 1, 2, 3. And as soon as you've strummed that chord, with whichever hand, I'm not bothered which hand, I want you to just stop. So to finish the song off, you've got another verse, a chorus, and then almost like a double verse. It just goes around that D to G for ages to a fade out, which means that the music gets quieter and quieter. So I've got the whole structure here. It's intro, verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, verse. So it's a fairly simple structure, and to be honest, there's so much in it for you to practice and get under your fingers. It's a really, really great one for wherever, sort of if you're in that beginner to intermediate bracket, there's loads in it. All I'd say is just make sure that you're using the right finger technique, and when you're strumming those bar chords in the bridge, take your time. I mean, I'll put a card up. There's loads of, I've got quite a few videos that help you with your bar chords, but those two shapes are directly on top of each other. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for you all to do really well with that. So that's it for this tune. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please let us know down in the comments. If you like what we do here at Practice Like a Pro, please do consider subscribing. We upload 3 guitar lessons a week. And if you learned something today and you're eager to do some more, please do check out some of those other videos. Until I see you next time, thank you very much. Keep practicing like a pro. Cheers.